Hi guys, welcome to The Drop. There are 23 million out-of-school children and our population growth is at the rate of 2.1%, which is the highest in South Asia. There are a lot of children on the street. Makes one wonder why we're not looking into adoption as a potential solution to solve this. To discuss just that, we have with us Elia Rathore today. Welcome, Elia.
Hi.
So, Elia, you've written an article about this, and I'm assuming you've done a lot of research on this. So, tell us, what exactly is the problem with children in Pakistan? Why are they not seen repeatedly, even though we see them in the cars? But what's the issue?
Okay, well, there's like, in terms of adoption or in terms of like just street children?
Child welfare.
Okay, well, just like everything else in Pakistan, we have a very specific national narrative, right? And we have a very specific idea of what a Pakistani is supposed to look like, what our national image is supposed to project, who we're supposed to, project to the outside world, what we're supposed to be. So anyone who doesn't fit into that fabric, right, into that narrative is like sidelined, disenfranchised, put to the side and like just seen as invisible. So not really seen at all, right? So we have this tendency to forget anything that is unsavory, anything that we might not want to think about too much. And I mean, street children, children who are poor, children who are from poor families or illegitimate, or children who have left.
Ones, the poor ones, the ones we do not see, the ones we see in dumpsters. All these children, we wish them out of our sight. So it begs the question then, why are we not thinking about adoption as a solution? Why do we feel that wishing them away, and only because we are assuming this thing will get fined by the state, and it does not, because the state does not have the capacity to take care of the children through education, through shelter, or through adoption. So what do we do? Where do we go from here? How do we assume adoption is the way out?
Okay, so the problem is that there's like a twofold problem. There's the systemic problem. Our state does not have proper infrastructure in place for adoption to take care of these children, doesn't really care about it because people don't really care about it. And then there's a societal taboo of taking care of all these street children, right? Of adoption in general. We don't really talk about it. It's hush-hush. It's something, and if it does happen, then you do your best to push it down and say, oh no, I did not do that.
But there is a Guardianship Act, isn't there?
Yes, there is. But guardianship is different from adoption, right? We do, the process of adoption is so convoluted and so tedious.
Tell us about that.
Okay, so what you really have to do is go to the family court. There's no adoption agencies per se, like you have in other countries, to be middlemen or stuff like that, to take care of all these little things, to ensure child welfare. It's somewhat de facto, like it's somewhat not really systemized in a lot of cases. People do under the table kind of adoptions.
That is an issue, because people who seek to adopt, they have such resentments, or they realize that they cannot adopt. So what they do is that they claim the child is theirs by birth. So it's an informal
home birth.
way.
Like we had a home birth.
So that system is there. On the other hand, there's this nuance. There are minorities like the Hindu community and the Christian community, and they do want to adopt. And the Sharia does not really apply to them, because as Muslims we do follow the Sharia, and adoption is not allowed, which makes sense. So we can be the guardians. So where do the minorities come in? Is there a child bureau system that allows adoption in its entirety, the Western notion of adoption? Is there a system for that for the minorities like the Hindus or the Christians, or no?
There is not, but there's a lot to be said in like what you just said, right? The fact that our Islamic principles aren't really supportive of adoption, that's false. Okay, I don't think that we should be viewing it like that in the first place. Sure, this legal modern system for adoption was not the same back then, but it's heavily recommended even in Islam.
Of course, Hazrat Sallam had Zaid bin Haris as his adopted son.
And in this country, if you want to get to people's hearts, if you want to change their minds, you have to approach it Islamically. And the way we've been approaching it Islamically is totally the wrong way, in saying that Islamically it's not right, it's not allowed.
Because the conversation we were having before was that people say that the issues are the child cannot take up the biological father's, the adoptive father's name. The child cannot be a mehram, and the child cannot inherit property. I'm sorry, but if I was a street child, these would be like first world issues for me. I would personally want a right to begin with in a home where I can get food and shelter in protection of guardians. I won't care about this. So rather than looking at the glass half empty, I think we should really promote guardianship, adoption, however you want to package it, for the layman to be able to digest the notion, I feel like this is something we need to propagate. And that's exactly why I personally started the campaign, because I realized there's so many people who actually do want to help children who have nowhere to go through adoption or guardianship, but we have stigmatized it so much as a society that we don't see a way.
Yeah.
So perhaps we need a campaign for this.
We've pushed it underneath the table in the sense that we've forced people who want to help these children to be illegal in their methods, right?
Yeah.
We force them to be unethical. We force them to do things that aren't in line with the state, to lie, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, why? It's a completely deliberate process to be adopting a child, right? People want to adopt children, and we have all this bureaucratic red tape in place saying that, oh no, you have to be Muslim unless the child is verified a Christian or Hindu.
Okay, so tell me this, please. If I'm a newborn baby, am I supposed to write it on my head that I'm a Christian born or I'm a Hindu born? Because in this Islamic Republic, any baby found is automatically a Muslim.
Yes.
So that then creates an issue for Hindus and Christians who are actually looking to adopt
any minority whatsoever. We have a rule that only Muslims can adopt Muslim babies, so that
and the Muslims cannot adopt.
Muslims can't really adopt. It's foster care or whatever you want to call it. And then on top of that, you say you have to be in a married couple. There's so many single women, single fathers who want children but aren't being allowed to get children. Women are talking about being treated with contempt at adoption like centers or not even centers, orphanages. They're not even adoption centers. They're just orphanages.
I believe personally that even though we are progressing as a society, we cannot do so without taking the children of the nation with us. And thank you so much though for being with us today, because
thank you so much for having me.
It does structure the issue though, and we have a vision now, and maybe through my campaign or whatever, your articles, maybe we can garner this awareness in people that something needs to be done.
Can I just say one more thing, that we do need lots of awareness campaigns, and for that we need to start getting our ministers involved just as an individual. Just go to your minister and say, this is something I care about now.
Definitely.
If we pressure them enough, and people like us, especially people who come from privileged backgrounds, people who have power, they listen to us. So we need to do this.
Because we do carry labels with us,
we do.
whether we admit it or not, and we can make a change. If you're more interested in this conversation, we'll be attaching a link below to a campaign that's working on guardianship for the welfare of children. Thank you so much for tuning with us.
We're really excited to share fantastic content with you
on all the fun topics.
Please subscribe to our channel by
clicking on the subscribe button below.